Awesome. We're all here, guys. Hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Restoration Roast podcast. My name is Albert. I am the AI powered restoration guru from San Diego himself. I'm live here with Justin, my co host. Justin is the dry out daddy, he is a YouTube legend. And then we also have somebody new that's joining us on the pod. Adam. He is somebody that came from the contractor side and he joined the dark side. He is the adjuster. He is the enemy. He is no estimate is getting past him. And he also lifts. So he can probably lift more than any adjuster around here. Anyway, welcome guys. These are both my co-hosts. This is the Roast podcast. How's it going, gents?
Going great. And I appreciate the invite onto the podcast. I'm really looking forward to diving into some of these topics today.
Heck yeah. Justin, how
Yes,
are you?
it's going good, man. Just hanging out in sunny Florida, vibing.
So what y'all drinking? So Adam and I actually are close by. So we got the same drink. We went to a local roastery. It's called Heave Ho in San Diego, and he got a vanilla latte. I think a uh, I got a whipped americano, which is fascinating, but it's actually pretty good. Basically, they made me an americano, and then they frosted it, and surprisingly, it's delicious. It's smooth. What about you, JC?
I'm doing straight black coffee, but this is a local coffee brand here called Buddy Brew, and this is their Florida roast. So you're gonna have some
Oh,
citrus
wow.
and some sugar cane in here, straight Florida natural coffee right there. So gotta support the locals.
Yep, exactly. All right. So we have a full docket today. We're going to go over three articles today that talk about claims. They talk about how AI is working in the space, what we're encountering on the field, and then we're just going to go into some stuff that we've been experiencing individually, each of us on the field. So first things first, we have this gem of an article that I found. So it's on a website called Carrier Management, critical information for PNC carrier executives. This is from somebody named Gina Reyes. And here's the main highlights that I came across when I was reading this, because I want to understand the industry from the point of the people that are writing our checks. In this article, she talks about how training adjusters is difficult. Adjusters have quite a lot of things to do. They're expected to be masters of everything in a sense. And according to studies, adjusters keep getting new things added onto their roles. Claims are getting more complex. So, what she's talking about is how now with AI and automation, a lot of this is starting to target the easy, low effort claims that can be handled and decided on from the very beginning, versus insurance carriers are deciding when to send a claim to an adjuster. And typically, when it happens, is when it's a more complex claim. Adam, I don't know if you can speak for this, if AI is taking over the job of claims or how that's happened, but why don't you give us your perspective? I'm a little skeptical as to how far AI automation is implemented specifically with insurance carriers, at least what you've seen. And then maybe like the kind of claims that you're getting. Are they simple? Are they complex? Do you agree, disagree? What do you think?
So, automation sounds fantastic. And I think anybody wants things to be more streamlined, right? The problem is the tools that we currently have available to automate parts of our job aren't down to perfect science yet. I get to a claim and there's a puddle of water on their soil in an unfinished basement. There really isn't really a lot of room for automation there, right? I'm going to get there. I'm going to see there's no damage. This is going to be, a no direct damage claim. It's a technical denial, but there's no room for automation there. Now, on the other hand, you get to a claim, someone's whole kitchen is wiped out, right? Their EMS has already been on site, removed everything without even speaking a sentence to you. Maybe some automation has somewhere to play in that, whether that's writing the repair estimate, maybe even helping with documentation. But the point is that just speech to text in your notes on your iPhone. So I think that automation is definitely something we all want. I just don't see how it could be further implemented without human hands involved.
Interesting.
In other words, he
JC, I
doesn't
don't
want
know,
it.
like, it'd be that.
That's
It'd
what
be
I
that. I don't
heard.
know. I've fucking
Do you feel like you have a lot on
I've
your
talked to a
plate,
lot of
Adam?
independent.
Yeah, I have a lot on my plate. Yeah, I can't, because of the amount of thought and risk that goes into having your adjuster role. You have to think twice about whenever you say something or type something down. You got to think 4 times before you do it. And I'm just not willing to relinquish that trust to automation, because that's on me. That's my skin, right? So, God forbid this automation does something that isn't completely under my control, and now I'm on the hook for it. I don't trust it yet. It's not that I don't want it. I want it. I just can't trust it.
I'm reading parts of the article. Good quotes here say things like, the claims that still require human attention are increasingly the ones that demand judgment, empathy, and ability to handle adversarial situations. Meaning, when the insurance company is afraid that the policyholder is going to sue, which I imagine is a very strong thing that you're looking for, right? That's when that expertise is really required. I speak to a lot of other restorers, especially independent ones, and it seems like with certain carriers, the moment that the claim is filed, sometimes there's like an instant denial. I think there's a lot of fear on, hey, if I file this claim, it's going to be instantly denied. There's not going to be coverage. Yes, there's mold, but the mold is because the water just happened. Are there a lot of instant denials, Adam, or like how does that work?
The way those policies are written, it's straight legalese. But with the amount of resources that we have now, I just don't see a legitimate reason as to not be versed in the policy that you signed up for. If you are calling in a claim and your whole bedroom wall is full of black fuzzy mold and you're saying this happened last week, the fact is, you got a thing on your wall that should be paying rent. Sometimes the homeowners shoot themselves in the foot, and that's on them. My job as an adjuster, believe it or not, is to find coverage. And I know that doesn't seem that way, but
It's a
and let me
lie.
give
They say that's a lie.
Hold on. I have an objection. I have an objection. Adam, I just have a question for you.
Of course.
I have a question. Okay. When was the last time you read Facebook's terms and conditions?
I've
No, I'm
never read them.
serious. Well, right. That's what homeowners do to their policy. They don't read it. You can't. It's like impossible to interpret. It's a bunch of legal jargon that we don't understand. And you know what? A lot of people are doing now. They're just running it through ChatGPT. So I don't know what's worse, like not understanding it at all or just trusting AI with it.
So a quote that I'm reading from this article says, they're not trying to minimize every payout. They're trying to assess damage accurately, apply coverage correctly, and deliver an experience that builds trust with the policyholder during one of the most stressful moments of their life. I feel like that's kind of what Adam is communicating. You're trying to get the proper coverage and help the homeowner as a contractor, but the insurance just isn't budging on some of these things. Can you speak to this? Because sometimes it feels like we're just constantly in a fight to fight for coverage.
One of the biggest things that I learned moving over to the dark side was that as contractors, y- you guys make a lot of assumptions. Contractors, especially whenever I was on that side, it was like, okay, this house just flooded. This person's ceiling caved in their kitchen. I need to get down there, get a work authorization signed, set some dehumidifiers, and oh, it's built in 1970. Order asbestos testing. Let's get this thing rolling, right? You guys are chomping at the bit because it's your job to restore the property. But on the flip side, as the adjuster, I have to justify everything before anything happens. Otherwise, what's insurance for? What is the checks and balances for? Am I just here to be an ATM for everybody? We're not. My job is to justify everything I do. Gung ho
We need you to
contract,
ATM. We need you to
take out
ATM.
the sink. I have to justify
Nah.
it, or it's my neck.
Yeah. What is like worst case scenario? Say you overpay too much on a claim. Do they spank you or like what actually happens?
Okay. I
Like you were.
I know. No, I get you. No, I get you. I hear you. No, I'm not going to get spanked per se, but a lot of my performance markers are based on something that we know as leakage. Okay, and that is not only if I overpay on a claim, if I underpay on a claim, it's leakage as well. So it's in everyone's best interest that I have all the facts of this claim so I can accurately pay out exactly what is owed to get that property back to pre-loss condition. And it's as simple as that, right? I'm not really worried about, having to pay things. I will pay $1 million if it's justified, but I need to justify it. And just because you might know what needs to happen doesn't necessarily mean we're on the same page, and we got to be on the same page before anything happens. Otherwise, the homeowner might get stuck with a bill they don't deserve. Nobody wants that.
Fair enough.
That's pretty good. Well said. All right. Let's transition to the next article. So in the next article, just a quick summary, technology may change how claims are handled, but it doesn't change the fact that property damage is becoming more expensive. So I saw some interesting statistics about this article. So there's an article from Compass, the real estate company, and they just posted it recently on home insurance claim statistics for 2026, frequency, severity, and costs. This goes over a little bit of the Washington market because this realtor is from Washington, but it highlights a lot of nationwide average statistics. Let's look at some of the headline things. Approximately 1 in 18 insured homes files a claim each year. About 1 in 36 of those homes is wind and hail claims. 1 in 67 is water damage and freezing. So here we go. We got our segment right here. 1 in 67 insured homes. Here's our TAM. 1 in 430 homes have fire and lightning. And then it goes into other stuff, theft, liability claims, and so on. And these statistics are just so interesting. U.S. home insurance claims 2026 key numbers. 1 in 18 insured homes is filing a claim per year. The average claim payout across all categories is about $17,000, which is quite interesting. I imagine that in the water damage side, that includes both water and repair
Yeah.
to settle and close the claim entirely. $88,000 average fire and lightning claim. Yeah, if there's a fire in a house, I mean, it's going to be expensive. In SoCal specifically, though, I feel like this is usually 300,000, 400,000, etc. 40% share of claims wind and hail, so that's the most common ones. Hence, the restorers that handle roofing, good market TAM right here for you. And then 5 to 6% of claims fully denied. I laughed when I saw this number because I was like, no, I feel it. It feels like it's a lot higher, but I could be wrong. Adam, talk to me about what restorers are billing, and is it always high? Is everyone trying to maximize their bill, or are most people honest do-gooders? Like, what do you see in the landscape so far, based on what your experience is?
I would say the vast majority of independent restorers inflate their bills. And it's not like I'm not going to charge the one monitoring hour per visit. I'm talking like in excess of a small water loss, say in one garage of a 6 linear foot flood cut is $10,000. It's not, most of these independent restorers aren't billing to bill you outside of the TPA guidelines. They are charging you to be exponentially high and get you somewhere in the middle. And I think that's absolutely unreasonable. And in most cases, all that ends up happening is, a comp bid ends up coming back and you're charging 10,000 and my comp bid came back at 3, you're getting $3,000. Like that's it. So a lot of these independent restorers just end up basically ruining their name in the general area. So as soon as you hear their name, you kind of cringe a little bit internally. And you kind of know what you're going to be dealing with.
That's pretty
Justin,
funny. I
thoughts?
actually
Your
have to agree with him though. As like an independent owner, like yeah, they most certainly inflate their bills sometimes. They 100 it happens. I mean, here in Florida, like a lot of I see my bill versus some of these other guys, and I'm like, oh wow, like I am beating you by a lot. I mean, I try to be optimized. I want to be optimized. I want to be fair to the customer and whoever else is involved, whether it's a property manager or an insurance company. Like, I focus on being fair. And I do truly believe that there are some independent guys out there who've taken on an excessive amount of overhead, and they're passing that overhead cost onto customers and insurance. And yeah, there's some guys out there who have like this viewpoint that like insurance is just this endless ATM, you know? So I do have to agree with you. Yeah, like there is, you know, there are some guys out there who are unreasonable, but there's also a lot of independents who I feel like are fair, you know?
Yeah, and I think part of that is maybe the expectation from companies like mine being a part of these programs. It's like the TPAs and the carriers, they want the preferred vendor because companies like mine have basically agreed to lower our pricing. We've agreed to only bill for certain things. So when adjusters like Adam are dealing with these claims that are lower because the system they've signed up for says that's the market value, and independents still acting in good faith are billing for what's the real market value without the squashed, push down pricing. Maybe that expectation is, different. It's like, hey, why is this independent charging so much more when a preferred vendor would be paid this? But the preferred vendor has also agreed to a smaller price list. I mean, if you look at like Xactimit's price list, it's just they squeeze us on so many little line items versus the reality of what things cost, like spending time and labor really scraping out glue from flooring, or like there's just so many complexities at a job site that I think, uh, systems like Xactimate just really underprice from the contractor because they're made by the carrier. They're
I
priced
disagree.
for. You
I
disagree? Okay.
disagree. Absolutely, because guess what? I know the average mitigation bill has a 70% profit margin. Guys are just greedy. I mean, it is what it
Base
is what it is.
I feel like that's
You.
not entirely accurate because everybody has different everybody's margin's going to look a little different.
Justin, my profitability on water jobs is about 70%. That being said, that's the profit on the job. Then it gets absorbed by the operational costs, which boils it down by quite a bit. But we're doing good. The thing that I've seen though is like I have several friends that are maybe uh, on the different side of the independent thing where they're asking ChatGPT, hey, what else can I bill for? Not because they don't understand, but because they want to know like what more can I add to this, right? And then they ask ChatGPT, what's the approximate pricing for this, and so on. And these models aren't trained on extreme specific, constantly adapting market expertise and pricing. A lot of line items aren't on Xactimate are public, but a lot of line items aren't, and the pricing constantly changes. An adjuster might say, "Oh yeah, let's pay for equipment setup, monitoring, and takedown as the line item," but an independent contractor is going to be like, I'm not going to charge for equipment setup, monitoring, and takedown. I'm going to charge for equipment setup. I'm going to charge for equipment monitoring, and I'm going to charge separately equipment takedown. Like three separate charges.
Come on,
No,
Adam, you've
yeah,
never seen a surf pro cook the books, cook the estimate. It's only independence.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
I wouldn't want Albert writing an estimate for me if I was an adjuster. I'd be scared. He knows how to cook.
Never
Okay,
seen it.
okay. We got a supply line that burst, and we were there within 24 hours, and I'm getting air scrubbers, Cat 3 decontamination on every piece of equipment, and replacing all the filters on everything with HEPA vacuuming and sanding and all the exposed framing. What are we talking about? What are we doing? You know what I mean? And they just think that's reasonable. And it's like I want whatever they're smoking, I want it because clearly they're if they're if they're billing for this stuff, they've clearly gotten away with
Dude,
it in the past.
they're
That's
smoking
real.
the S500 and the S520. That's what they're smoking.
Not everybody. Not everybody. Not everybody. There are some crazy people out there. I think the vast majority are trying to help out the homeowner, and they're trying to make sure they cover their costs. But I think there's a lot of lack of standards expertise And it's because adjusters expect one to be communicated one language, and that's not commonly available to everyone. And even then, the contractor has to decide, do I even want to work with the insurance company, right? Are you optimized for the homeowner, or are you optimizing your business model for the insurance carrier? And it feels like there's quite a vast difference out there. And when you're independent, you optimize. It seems like you optimize more for the homeowner. Once your restoration company gets past $2-3 million, maybe more, you can't avoid being a more insurance centered model. All right, back to
Hey,
this article. Back to this
you're
article
right
that
here, folks. Contractor and adjuster agree for the first time in history over something. So
back
read
to this
that. Read
article. Interesting educational piece. Water and house fire together account for nearly 45% of all paid claims by dollar amount. Wind and hail account for 41%. So we have a solid part of the TAM. And interesting lesson here, if you get into roofing, you get a giant unlock of double the volume, according to the statistics of this article. But interesting. So I'm going to transition to the final article, and then we can talk shop. So we know that homeowners are paying more for claims. Next question is whether those claims are actually getting paid. Let's share this.
Spoiler, they are.
Okay.
This is way more fun than I thought it would be.
Right? Right? Okay. Interesting article that I found just last month. The 5 biggest home insurers didn't pay 44% of the claims last year. Here's how to protect yourself in 2026. I feel like this article is a little biased in its perspective, but why insurers aren't paying claims. So it's saying that might be due to severe weather events, climate change, and so on. Which, by the way, I've been looking up storms. Like, our restoration company's ready to travel storm anytime, right? But it's been a little quiet last year and this year. But it says the major natural disaster exclusions are flooding and earthquakes. But depending on where you live, your policy may also exclude hurricanes or even wildfires. So it says if your house gets destroyed by a peril you didn't realize was excluded, it'll be too late for you to get coverage after the fact. Adam, tell me, are you sitting on 44% of claims not getting paid out? Like, what's going on here? Give us the behind the
I
scenes. Why are you
I
not paying these people? I'm s-
I can't speak for I can't speak for all the carriers, right? But what I can say is, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, read your policy. Read
I
your
knew it.
policy, homeowner, because I don't care. I don't care. You
It's
need to
your
read your
fault
policy.
you own a home.
I don't care. I don't.
States with the most insurance non-payments. Florida recorded the highest rate of home insurance non-payments, then Texas and California, where wildfires and tornadoes are notable threats. Yeah, in California, the wildfire damage, I mean, we don't even have to get started. It's just still crazy how that hasn't been resolved. Texas is among a handful of states that generally prohibit insurers from penalizing customers for zero payment claims.
What does that say? What does that say? That's interesting. What is you say? Take time to review your policy. Huh.
Re-
That's
Come
interesting. I
on.
Review.
think
That's such an easy like cop out, I feel like though. Like what like we don't read terms and conditions. People don't read that stuff, you know? And even if you
okay, but
do,
there's a
good
difference
luck
in
trying to
opening
interpret
Facebook
it.
and there's a difference between opening Facebook and protecting your biggest asset. If you're not taking that more seriously than opening up Facebook, that says something more about you than reading.
I think I just signed a policy the other day. I clicked the DocuSign and it's like 40 pages, right? And then I just click start and then it scrolls to like page 30. And then you just push the button that says sign. And then you click the next, move to the next and then start sign. And then you just submit. How's how's the Florida insurance landscape, Justin? I thought like there's no insurance in Florida, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it's becoming less and less insurance, but I mean, I signed a homeowner's policy recently too, and it's the same thing. It was like a DocuSign. I just initialed. I mean, there was like 100 pages there. I don't know what I couldn't. I tried to read some of it, but it was like it was talking about how I can't sue them for something, not what they cover. What, you know what I'm saying? Like I just need like a sheet that was just like, we cover this, this, and this, and this, period. So I don't
Adam,
know.
do you walk
It's
into these houses and you say, "Oh, mold, That's page 57 of the contract of the homeowner's policy. They unfortunately not covered. Like you just go into these houses and inspect and say, "Oh, I see I see some fungus here, and I see that you have this type of material." According to page 86, you're not going to get coverage. You know, like what you're supposed to be a human walking document auditor.
No, okay, again, not one size fits all, right? If there's some mold, right, on your wall here, okay, we got to figure it out, okay? Is this more than 10 square feet? What color is it? What caused the leak in the first place, right? If I again, my job, I don't believe it or not, is to find coverage. If I can attribute whatever the microbial growth is to a very recent, sudden, and accidental release of water, I'm gonna put all my chips on that. I'm not gonna fixate on why there's mold. I have a EMS was mid demo and they found some microbial growth. That doesn't mean like now we're gonna stop the whole claim and you're denied. It's let's figure it out together. I understand, your policy might have a sublimit for mold specifically, right? And there's always ways to navigate it in order for me to maximize the insured's claim. And that's what I attempt to do. Honest to God, that is my job, trying to maximize claim payouts for the insureds because that's what they deserve. And again, I cannot speak on behalf of other adjusters or other carriers. I'm only speaking on behalf of myself as the adjuster of adjusters, right? So they're not all equal. You're not going to get the same adjuster each time that's really going to be by your side and really try to maximize your claim. You can get a bad adjuster. You can, and that's human error. Like, how do you, I guess, how do you tackle that issue? I don't know, truly.
How often do you deal with when a deductible is higher than the actual claim payout? And then from there, because it seems like deductibles are getting higher and higher these days. I could be wrong, but they used to be like 500 or 1,000. Now I'm seeing these 3,000, 5,000, $10,000 deductibles, and the claim is going to be worth $9,000 or something like that. So now it's like there's not even going to be a payout. How often are you dealing with that, and how do you handle those?
Well, they are more common than people might think. Let's say they have a $5,000 deductible and they had a water loss in their bedroom, but they caught it really quick. There's just a spot in their ceiling. You technically can't tell a homeowner what to do with their claim. If they want to pursue a claim, they're going to pursue it, right? If we pursue the claim and it's under deductible, it's technically an under deductible, which is, it counts on your record as almost as much as a denial would. So the next year, your premium might go up because of that. So what I like to do is if I can catch on early enough that the damage is going to be under deductible, I'll kind of try to nudge the insured in the direction of, hey, I don't think we're even going to scratch close enough to your deductible on this one. Tell you what, before I even get out there, before I send an EMS, before anything, you might even want to kind of consider maybe withdrawing here. And if they're like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead and withdraw the claim. Okay, great. If I don't step foot, if I don't incur any claim costs, we can withdraw the claim and nothing happens. It doesn't go on anybody's record. What it is, it's technically an inquiry. So it doesn't go against you. But if the insured wants to continue and pursue the claim, because I've had that before, at that point, it's just an under-deductible claim and it'll stick on your record for a bit. Because at that point, I went out to the job site, I sent out Albert to go look at the job. Now I got a service call I got to pay, right? And then I sent out leak detection to figure out what the cause of loss was. And at that point, because the claim has incurred cost, it is now on your record.
You said that you nudge the insured toward double checking. Is that gonna come back to, should I edit that part out, or is it okay to say that?
It's okay to say that. Yeah, it's okay to say that.
Okay. If you change your mind.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. It's the truth. I think it should stay in.
Let it be
Hey,
free.
let it be.
Truth. Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
But do we want to
making
change the
sure.
industry or what? Like, we're not going to change it by editing
Yeah,
crap
but I don't
out
want
like
to be
that.
fired. Then we lose our adjuster.
No, if he gets fired, it'll further the point. It'll just be like, dude, this is what they don't want the truth out. We're giving it to the people. We're giving the people what they want.
I'm sacrificing my life for you people.
You got to look at the recent Facebook comment, Albert, on the last podcast. Somebody he made a really good one.
You see,
He said the industry needs more open conversations, saying the real thing on record instead of just at the bar at a walk networking together. Like we're putting this out there online.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I think, Adam, that's why people, to your point, like at least in Florida, a lot of people, they're not really filing claims because they know that, or they've filed a claim previously and they had higher premiums the next year or whatever. So that's kind of why they're, if they have the extra money, they're just gonna, they're like, why even run it through them? I'm just gonna, just pay you guys. You're here now, just get it done. If people got extra money, they're cool with it. But when money's tight, they're like, oh, I don't know. So
I wanted to jump back to what Justin said because I thought it was really important where let's say we're, mid demo and we find some microbial growth. And Justin said more or less that, hey, sometimes you can kind of take care of it without it being a blip on the insured's radar or on the insurer's radar. I think that's so amazing, right? Because I appreciate Justin for saying that because whenever I was on the contractor side, that's always what I tried to do because most of the time those policies have sublimits for mold specifically. Let's say you have a $5,000 mold limit. Now anything you've demoed now has to fall underneath that limit. That's testing, that's demo, that's reconstruction. And at that point, because the contractor's like, oh, I'm going to get paid more money, cat 3, that's great, but not really, because now you're putting the homeowner in a predicament of, well, now I'm going to pay out of pocket because I'm going over this limit, right? As an adjuster, I can't call the contractor and be like, hey, dude, can you just take care of this? That's a big no-no. I can't do that. And I wish more contractors had I don't want to say common sense, but the
I
common
like that.
sense to consider these things before they show up on my desk. And now I have to make a decision or a tough phone call to the insured saying, hey, you got a limit now. Sorry,
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like I've just heard a lot of stories of homeowners getting screwed because of that exact thing you described. And it's like at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility to the homeowner. It's not about me. It's not my ego. I think some restaurant owners, like, I mean, just given what I know and what I've seen and stuff like that in some of the groups and whatnot, like they let their ego get in the way. They like want to like get one over on adjusters and they think it's like fun. They pride themselves and they like flaunt their record to customers. And you're like, dude, your duty is to the homeowner, period. Who cares? It's not a war. It's like, let's get the homeowner taken care of. Let's streamline this. Let's optimize cost, because the reality is nobody budgets for property damage. If they did, maybe insurance wouldn't exist, but so if you can, whether insurance is paying for it or they're self-paying for it, the cost shouldn't change much because it should be streamlined and totally optimized, and so that's the
I don't know. I
approach that I
I
try to take.
disagree. I think yes, we have to have the homeowner's mind at heart. But other times, like when you're looking at like an insurance centered operation, you're kind of in this weird in between role where you're trying to do both. But there's people on our side that think, well, okay, we have so much volume that we have to fill and so much overhead, right? The contractor's inefficiency, but naturally, we're gonna try to bill everything we can as much as we can. And if the insurance only covers so much, then yeah, the homeowner's gonna be stuck with the bill. It is what it is, right? And that I can't say that that's what we do, but in the franchise and insurance centered model, it's extremely common to see this that, hey, like why are we up? No, they hired us to help and we're going to help and we did a great job. But many of us want to send and get away with the highest possible bill because adjusters are going to take a long time to pay us. So why are we going to try to resolve this amicably? We need we need money to be able to float the cost that we're going to be waiting for the next job and the next payout. So like, let's try to make this as much as possible and accurate, right? But as much as possible, because why are we trying to benefit the adjuster? Let's just, if not, let's just deal with the homeowner and go after them.
And then okay,
That's a good point,
that's
Albert.
fair. Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
No, I was just saying that's a good point, Albert. Just on like the time frame it takes to even just receive money, you have to kind of factor that time in.
Yeah, if we're doing 40 jobs for Adam's insurance company, or if you're smaller or you're bigger, however many, but let's say you're balancing, several dozen jobs across several different carriers, and you're typically working with the same adjusters very regularly, and you have good rapport, and sometimes you give and take with certain claims, but this whole cycle is going to be slow. We have to optimize for our operational costs too. And if we're balancing 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 claims a month with adjusters, we have to figure out how to maximize every single one, not just kind of bend over to what the claim is and say, well, yeah, we're going to make the homeowner happy and we're just going to do this really fast, quick claim file. And if something's not covered, then, we're just going to lower our bill. Like some of us can't do that. And it's not in our best interest to do that. So, Adam, you're going to get the biggest bill from us that you possibly can. I'm just kidding.
Hey, and if you can justify it, that's fine. If not, you ain't get dime, and I promise you, it ain't going by me because just not. I'm like, all right, it's
There we
just
go.
not.
The dog. He's the dog.
Adam's
I,
got the dog in him.
I
Adam's
want to
got the
cut you
dog in
check
him.
for $1 million. You just got to explain to me why. That's it, right? And I can't speak for all the adjusters. I can't speak for all the other carriers. If the general consensus is that adjusters aren't willing to pay you, well, you should go check what TPAs and what jobs you're accepting. Because if you give me all the proper documentation, you justify everything, I promise you, you're getting it paid so quick. You're gonna be like, whoa, I can't stop getting money. But if you're gonna sit here and throw a whole kitchen sink at me, I promise you, guess what? Now I'm gonna send it to a water mitigation department for review. It's gonna take them a week to review it. It's gonna come back to me for my review. I'm gonna let it sit on my desk for a couple of days because you're a little snappy with me. And then guess what? You're
Awesome.
getting 20% of that bill, right? But if you were
Yes.
just reasonable front, you'd not be paid and we'd all be happy.
I
It's
love
not
that. That
complicated.
is amazing. I could see it though, man. Like I see it, dude. I see, dude. You look at some of the groups, dude. You'll see some of the posts about it, and you're like, dude, that adjuster is a human. Like he's not like a warlord over here. Like it's just kind of like, yeah, no, I can see that for sure. Shoot, I'd be
All
doing the
right.
same thing. I'd be trying to make it difficult. If somebody's being disrespectful to me, like why not? If I can in the legal boundaries of my job, I'm gonna do it. Like,
And it's just silly because, let's say you try to pull one over on me on a claim. You understand that I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks on a different claim, right? Like I don't just disappear. You know what I mean? So do you really want an extra couple $100 to have that bad rapport? Do you really think you genuinely, if you think it's worth it, fine. If you want to fight, fine. I'm all for knife fighting in the alleyway with you. I'll do it all day. I don't care. But at the end of the day, you chose that. Well, I don't want to hear you complain.
who's worse? The water mitigation companies or roofers?
It's your stores because, with a roofer, right? There's only
Dude,
so
I
many
see the
square yards to argue about. Okay, there's only so many square yards I'm going to argue with you about. Whenever it comes to the interior of the home, we're talking floors, cabinets, walls, paint type, grades of each one of those materials, and now we're flinging around ITEL reports, and it's not even close.
I see so many more videos though of like roof inspectors getting up on the roof and they'll zoom in on like the tiniest piece and be like, "Yep, that's hail. That's hail. Get the claim going." And like I see a lot of social media content with that.
It reminds me of that one joke I saw. It's like if you're with the contractor and it's just you two at the house, don't argue with him while you're on the roof and he's on the floor because he's going to take your ladder.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair.
All right. Switching it to the fans. We posted this on Rebels. Somebody just commented. They subscribed. Thank you. If you listen this far, please make sure you like and subscribe. Support the podcast. He said this industry needs more people saying the real thing on record instead of just at the bar after the walkthrough. Totally agree. This is why we're having this restoration roast, because we want to roast each other's opinions, talk shop, agree, disagree, and not take it personally. Just explain what we see on the field. So,
Yeah, that's very encouraging, David.
any final closing thoughts here for the guys? Anything you've observed this week? Any final stuff before we wrap up?
So I won't. I'm gonna try not to give like any like real personal details here, but I'll just explain it all as best I can. So an individual contacted me. They had a house flood. Okay, I think it was from the toilet. It overflowed, flooded the whole home. A restoration company had gone out and performed the dry out, right? So this was earlier in July. So at some point in time between when they did the dry out to, fast to like literally today when they reached out, they stopped working together. But this individual who is the homeowner has a report from a mold assessor that is basically saying that there is in fact mold in this house. Okay. The mold assessor took readings while the equipment was still running in the home. So he has his meter there. It's right next to a DHU, and the floor is obviously reading wet because there was just a flood, right? So the air samples on the mold report are like, there's nothing that is normally associated with water damage at all on there, really. There is one obscure spore, but like the raw count isn't alarming. You know what I mean? Like there's only one spore showing up at all. Okay. And it's an extremely low count. But she is, or this individual is adamant that there is mold, and now she wants all the flooring demoed. She wants 2-foot cuts around the house. And it's an extremely weird predicament because the water mitigation company that originally showed up is no longer there. And for me, she wants us, or this individual wants us to quote this job out. But it's like now we're quoting it for mold, even though it was a water job, and things are dry there in this home. Like and I don't really want to quote the job because I'm just kind of like, I don't really know what we're doing here. And it's also weird too because like, you would almost need another assessment done by a mold assessor to really confirm, because when the original assessment was done, it was mitigation. Of course the floor is going to be wet. The home is actively being dried out. So kind of an interesting thing, but like I'm getting a feeling that like somebody at the original restoration company that first went there was trying to work the claim a little bit, and for whatever reason they're not there, and now the homeowner, this individual, is trying to pick up the slack or pick up the ball on where that claim left off, and now it's just kind of just dragging on way longer than it ever needed to.
I've seen too, like the predatory mold testing companies or some companies that give this like predatory report, and it over explains or under explains, but it shares this aura of fear around, hey, there's mold, right? And it could just be mold from like opening the window outside, or it could be serious mold. But Adam, what's your perspective here? Because you've dealt with quite a few mold jobs. What happens when you get
So, Justin, you said though on that mold report, it wasn't actually like anything of concern, like it wasn't elevated.
Yeah, no, it was not elevated. Like I said, there's only one type of spore that's showing up, and it's an extremely low count.
I mean, at that point, I think that has to be a conversation with the homeowner. Like, I understand that you have these health concerns, and that's very real. But here are the facts. This is what my findings are. If you'd like to move forward, we can do that. Otherwise, I'm not sure how we can help, because at the end of the day, and especially if you're trying to go back and maybe that individual wants to try to get some of that cost comp through their claim, you know what I'm going to say. It needs to be justified. There needs to be some documentation, right? A simple more or where we have this one specific spore with a very low count really isn't anything that you could really grasp onto. So if you want to just pay out of your own pocket and have Justin demolish your house, you can't. It's your house. Let Justin swing a sledgehammer over the place. I don't care, but just don't expect to have that reimbursed on the back end through your insurance.
Yeah, see
spoken like somebody that
that's
constantly denies cover? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
no, no, but I mean, I gotta say though, like that's kind of what I was like indirectly, when I was talking to this individual, I was kind of implying like something's up here. Like you're trying to like navigate your own claim here, and you're gonna put yourself in a really shitty position because they could just deny it now. And it's over really, like all of that should have been pulled up in the first place just because of it was a water loss, like, and it was dirty water. I mean, I would be, that's what I'm going to go with, right? Like, so I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure, but like came from the toilet, and I don't know if it was above the trap, below. I don't know all those details, but the house got wet. Things should have been cut, and they never were cut from the get-go.
Crazy. Adam, you got a story too, right?
Yeah. So one of the quickest things I've learned with this role as an adjuster is that you really need to make sure you yourself have verified information. It's what's that one saying? Trust but verify, right?
Yes.
Get to a water loss. Yeah, get to a water loss and there's a pipe burst underneath the crawl space and there's water damage throughout the home. I'm like, okay, get to the property. I'm meeting with a restorer on site with the homeowner. I'm going to walk through the house, get things going. While I'm on site, I finish up my repair estimate and my inspection. And in their bathroom. I'm seeing super swollen MDF baseboard. The drywall is hollow, lost its integrity, and I'm seeing some black markovia throughout multiple rooms. The actual vinyl has already peeled in all the corners of the bathrooms. Looks like it's been going on for quite some time. The cabinets and vanities are all swollen as well. And so I'm already thinking this may have gone on for a little bit. Okay. I'm not automatically wanting to deny or go to that point, but I'm already starting to think, kind of get a narrative in my head that's going on for a minute. The restorer goes into the crawl space, right? As he's inspecting the crawl space, I get an email from the leak detection company that was there prior to our arrival, and I'm getting photos of this crawl space, the framing in real time while he's in that crawl space. Okay. The framing is lost its integrity. It has dry and wet rot. Okay. And the pipe itself was absolutely corroded. And in the leak detection report states the leak has been ongoing for weeks, if not months. So I'm like, that is not good. That's not great. Now I'm thinking that we might have a denial in our hands, right? I have some documentation inside the house as well as with this leak detection report. It's looking like a denial. Okay. So here I am mentally preparing myself to approach the insured with this unfortunate information because I believe it or not, I hate denying things. I hate it. I wish I could snap my fingers and cover everything because believe it or not, that's not a fun conversation. So I'm over here preparing to tell the insured this. The restorer comes out of the crawl space, and before I can approach the insured, says, "Hey, your crawl space looks great. A little bit of water damage, but everything looks fine. The framing's clean. I don't see any reason why this shouldn't be a covered claim." The way I slowly pan to this man, I'm sitting there like, and I can't say anything to him. So I'm like, okay, well, go ahead and send over that documentation. I'm happy to review it. Once I get that leak detection report, I'll have reviewed everything and I can make a final coverage determination. And the restorer like, okay, sounds great. He walks off all happy with the signed work authorization, lying to my face. Cause I literally was looking at the report while he was down there. And I get back to the office. I pick up the phone to call the insured. Hey, I'm really sorry. Based on, my findings and the leak detection report, I will not be able to extend coverage in your claim. Now I am the big
Adam, that wasn't ours, right? That was the other guy. That wasn't our company.
no. Yeah. This is
Kidding.
not
Just kidding.
Albert. This is not Albert. But now the insured's like, man, I can't believe this. That restorer said everything was clean and great. You're just looking for any reason to deny me. I can't believe this. I was going to put my boat under you guys for my insurance. I'm getting the whole spiel, right? And it's just one of those things where the contractors, they don't understand that what they say holds weight. And if you're going to blatantly lie to me, that it's like a double pimp slap to my face. So now every time I see your van around town, I want to slash your tires. I do. I want to
Where
slash
did you
your
grow
tires.
up, Adam? Where did you
And
grow up?
take a crowbar to your kneecap. I do. It's those kind of
West
things
side. West side, bro.
drive me up the
This
wall.
man didn't grow up
Man.
in the
He
nice
said it's on
neighborhoods. This is
site.
kind of, here we go. Words from
I just don't
the
like
Just
being
Adam.
played for a fool, especially when I can easily verify the information. I think anybody in my shoes wouldn't be particularly happy. That was my Wednesday.
Adam, and just to be clear, you're technically going to be working with this contractor in future claims too, I imagine. You encounter them. So next time they say, "Oh yeah, this is what happened. Can we get started?" There's probably a bitter taste that's lingering amongst their words of, is this actually going to be covered or not?
And then
And I will
exactly,
say-
and then they said, "Go ahead, Justin."
I was just gonna say, like, that contractor should never have said that to the homeowner at all, because it's not up to him whether the claim's covered or not. So just from like his standpoint, he should have not said that. Like, just as a customer service standpoint, it's like, hey, let's see what they say. Let's work through this. Like, to be so certain out of the gate is like not okay.
For those listening on Spotify, Adam was clapping his hands silently when Justin was saying that.
Was he?
statement.
Because
I'm looking at the camera.
I feel like, Justin, I hope everybody listening heard what Justin said. Take it to heart, tattoo it on your forehead, because I think that's such
Where did you grow up,
simple-
Adam? Where did you
It's
grow
just
up?
such a simple, low bar thing to do that I just think we should all be thinking that way. I think we should all think like Justin.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Maybe I'm one of
That's what I
you.
think.
Maybe I'm one of you.
Yeah,
Dry next week
exactly.
is you're gonna see dry out adjusting.
And it's yeah, and that's what further builds the narrative overall. Just take yourself out of that situation. It builds a narrative overall that adjusters are trying to delay claims, delay payouts, delay coverage confirmation. You guys are building that. You guys are doing that. It's not adjusters that are wanting to drag things on, delay everything. It's the fact that now I have to take the extra time to verify what you're saying to me because I can't trust you.
Yeah. Well, to your point though, you did say that if you get pissed off, you do leave it on your desk for a few extra days. So
Right, right.
It's a good point. That's crazy.
I'm just
So,
messing.
all right, this has been the Restoration Roast podcast. Tune in for the next episode. We thank you all for coming in and listening. If you have any comments, please comment on the YouTube video, like, subscribe. Subscribe to us on Spotify, and we want to hear your thoughts. So join in on the conversation. We'd love to hear your feedback. All right, I think that's it. Any closing thoughts, JC? Any closing thoughts, Adam?
This was awesome.
No, I guess
I
not.
like this a lot.
Yeah. No, I had a really good time, and I really look forward to the next episode. And if anybody out there disagrees with me, just know I'm right, and I'm happy to debate you.
Hey, bring it. Bring it. It's
Cool.
good.
All right.
All right. Thank you, gents.